Our next topic is about Crysis, guys. A game, series, and a franchise in which I have absolutely loved, and I would love to see a continuation of this franchise. Well, today, guys, I want to talk about what happened to Crysis. Like, what happened to this beloved franchise and series, and where could it be going in the future, and is there a future for Crysis? So let's talk about it. So guys, we've already talked a little bit about Crysis and its future here on the YouTube channel, but I wanted to talk about Crysis from a kind of a different perspective as to some of the announcements that have come out, which there have been some announcements that have come out, but it's been a long time ago. And a lot of these rumors and things of that nature kind of lead me to believe that maybe Crysis is in a limbo state, as in right now it might not be being worked on, maybe it is, but I think if there was a future for Crysis, it could be really bright. So guys, you had all three Crysis games, even though we had the Crysis Warhead, obviously, that came out in 2008, which, of course, I always forget about Crysis Warhead because it was one of those that I just never really played that much. So we're dating back to 2007 here, guys, when the first Crysis came out, and this article was written, of course, by Wikipedia. And so here's the thing. You had Crysis in 2007, and then you had Crysis Warhead in 2008. 2 years later, you had Crysis 2, right? And then, of course, a couple years after that, you had Crysis 3. So really, you had, a year between Crysis 1 and Crysis 2. You had 3 years between Crysis Warhead and Crysis 2, and then a couple of years between that. And then the thing about it is, guys, is that you really thought that there was a possibility that there was going to be a continuation after Crysis 3. However, if we kind of look through this article, with Crysis 3 being the end of the Crysis trilogy, Crytek teased that the series would have a radical future. Yearly confirmed that the next installment would not be called Crysis 4, as he considered such a title misleading. On June 12, 2012, it was revealed that Crytek would focus only on free-to-play titles following the release of Crysis 3. So, here's the thing. Obviously, they weren't really just focusing on free-to-play games, because Hunt Showdown, their newest IP after Crysis 3, is not free-to-play. Now, it's had free-to-play weekends, but it is not a free-to-play title. What I will say about this is Crysis, as far as a new sequel, or just like a complete reboot, soft reboot, I should say, of the series, I think that a Crysis free-to-play game would be huge. Here's why. You look at games like Fortnite, Apex Legends. Those are games where it's free-to-play, and, it's consistently evolving. Why couldn't Crysis be something like that? But maybe not necessarily a battle royale, but why couldn't it be a free-to-play first-person shooter? We haven't really seen that before. And I think something like that could be absolutely huge. And I think Crytek would be smart to do that. Now, there have been rumors that Crysis, the free-to-play game, or the soft reboot game, is going to be coming and is being worked on right now, and it's going to be like the follow-up to Hunt Showdown as far as from the Crytek Studios. Now, nothing is really confirmed yet, guys. Crytek does a pretty good job of keeping things under wraps over at their studio, so I think that there's a possibility that we may see something in the next couple of years. I think what really happened, though, with the Crysis series, guys, is between Crysis 1 and Crysis 2, you could even put Crysis Warhead in there, between those three titles, they did a pretty good job of, as far as, making good money. Crysis 3, though, did not do as well as what was thought to have, what they thought they were going to do, which is really unfortunate. It's an unfortunate ordeal. I don't know, I don't know really what the number was that they were trying to get to with the Crysis 3. However, what I'll say is this: I know that the Crysis games were very expensive to make. Obviously, guys, with that, the Crytek engine and the, just everything based around Crysis, it was just an expensive IP. And if you don't have sustainability there, as far as from a marketing perspective or even just that word of mouth perspective and having players come back. I will say this: I played Crysis 2 the most out of any of the Crysis games, and I thought it was really great. I used to play it quite a bit. I thought it was a really fun multiplayer. It was a great story. I thought the soundtrack was incredible. Just overall, I loved Crysis 2. Crysis 3, I thought was still really good. It just, for some reason, just wasn't as popular as Crysis 2 or even the first Crysis. And it's unfortunate because I really think that this is a strong IP that should exist within gaming without a doubt. So where is it headed at this point? Well, the last thing that we really heard, guys, was back in 2012. I guess it probably, it wasn't quite that long ago because Crysis 3 came out in 2013. So it's been, we've wondered and have been wondering now for a while as to how good is this going to be, or how long are we going to have to wait for a new Crysis game? And it doesn't seem like there's a timetable here. My assumption is that Hunt Showdown's doing really good for Crytek, and they're probably going to continue that. But why not have a couple of IPs that are doing really good for a studio? I've always looked at, having multiple really good games is very smart for a studio. So I think Crytek would be smart to be working on a Crysis free-to-play game while also having Hunt Showdown, and make Crysis a first-person shooter free-to-play game, maybe have a BR. A Battle Royale Crysis game I think would be pretty cool. I really do. I think that would be something that could be really interesting because of obviously, as your character, you got, shields and things of that nature as it is as a character. So why not have, it would just fit perfectly in the Battle Royale genre. At the same time, though, I want to still see a first-person shooter that, has, multiple different maps that you can play on. And, I think people would really enjoy it because it was different and it was like a futuristic shooter. I think that it would be popular nowadays if it were to ever come back. So I think what happened, guys, ultimately it really comes down to money. It really does. For a lot of titles that you haven't seen in a while, or you want to see a sequel to one of these titles that, whatever the title might be, if you haven't seen one for a while, most likely it's because of money, like it didn't make enough money, or just the reception wasn't that great on it. People don't want to see a sequel to it. But I think with Crysis, it really comes down to, I think, money, but also that Crysis 3 just wasn't as popular as the originals. And I also think that Crytek probably felt like, okay, we completed this trilogy. Let's move on to like Hunt Showdown, which is what they're working on now. And maybe we'll come back to Crysis in the future. It's hard to say, guys, but I would love to have a real conversation about it in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. Do you want to see a Crysis free-to-play game, or do you want to just see a continuation like a Crysis 4? Let me know what you guys think. Let's have a conversation about it.